Well, for more on this, we're joined now by the ABC's Middle East correspondent, Ann Barker. And it had been suggested that Hosni Mubarak could face the death penalty. Was it a surprise that he only received life in jail?
Richard, I think most Egyptians were in fact expecting him to either walk free or get a low sentence. Even though many Egyptians wanted him to face the death penalty, I don't think too many people expected that would really happen. And the jubilation outside the court suggests that they were surprised. There were wild cheers and fireworks even when the verdict was announced. But that joy soon turned to anger when the crowd learned that the 6 co-accused, the 6 former security officers, were acquitted, and in fact Mubarak's own 2 sons had charges against them dropped. So I think there's a question now as to whether Hosni Mubarak has been used as some kind of scapegoat to take the heaviest sentence so that the others involved could walk free.
So what happens from here? Is there any right of appeal for him, or is it all done and dusted?
No, there is a right of appeal, and in fact Hosni Mubarak's lawyers have already said that he will appeal. That will obviously take place in the weeks and months ahead. This trial took about 10 months already, so it could be a while before we have a final verdict. But it is worth noting that in many other cases where people have been charged, former police, security officers and so on, also may receive a very heavy sentence up front, and when it goes to appeal, very often they have been acquitted.
Now, he was wheeled in on a stretcher, and for most of the trial he was on a stretcher. Where's he being taken now to serve out his sentence?
He's been taken to a military hospital at the Torah prison in Cairo. For more than a year since before the trial began, he's been held in a hospital at Sharm el-Sheikh on the Red Sea. He was taken to the Torah prison hospital soon after the verdict was read. I gather that he, in fact, was in tears when the helicopter landed and tried to refuse to get out of the chopper to go into the prison hospital, but that eventually he was convinced to do so. But for the foreseeable future, that will be where he spends the beginning of his life sentence in custody.
Now, we saw pictures of the unrest that was happening inside the court as well as outside. Will this have any impact, do you think, on the upcoming elections in Egypt?
Well, Cairo particularly and Egypt has been very volatile in recent weeks, and the runoff poll for the presidential election is only 2 weeks ago. There have been sporadic protests over recent weeks, and I think a lot of anger in the lead-up to that election. A lot of people see the candidates, the 2 candidates in the running for that election, as not representing the views of the revolutionaries, for example, that staged the uprising last year. So I think if some of the anger from the verdict today continues and feeds into some of that existing tension, then we could see some volatile times in Egypt in the weeks ahead.